welcome back. Today we're going to make the That's What You Got Me gift bag. The finished gift bag, there are 3 sizes. This is the small size, which is what we're going to be making today. And let's just get started. So you will cut out 2 exterior fabric. The pattern calls for quilting cotton. You can change that. So we're going to use quilting cotton on this. I will make a video of a large and a medium using other materials. So we have 2 exterior, 2 lining. We have fusible fleece on the medium and large. The small exterior, we will just use fusible woven. So this is like Pellon Shape Flex SF101. I use Pixie Fuse Light from Royal Pixie Custom Fabrics. And you'll adhere that to the lining and the exterior on the small. The medium and large will have woven interfacing on the lining and fusible fleece on the exterior. In addition to that, you'll cut 2 top stabilizer pieces and 1 bottom stabilizer piece. So once that's all cut, we're going to attach, well, first we're going to fuse the woven interfacing to the exterior and the lining pieces. And then on the exterior pieces, you'll measure 1/2 inch down from the top and center the top stabilizer piece and fuse that in place on both of those. All right, so to start sewing, this pattern uses a 1/2 inch seam allowance unless otherwise stated. So first I'm going to line these up right sides together, and we're matching up this bottom straight edge. And I'm just going to clip that together. And we're going to sew using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. The snips that I'm using today are from Mormino.com. My clips, they're rainbow glitter clips, and they're from Mormino.com as well. And this exterior fabric is from Fabric Therapy. And I will link all of that in the description. So once that's sewn together along the bottom only, we're going to press that seam open like this. So let me press that. Alright, so the bottom seam is pressed open. Then we're going to take the bottom stabilizer and you will want to center it over that bottom seam. So I'm just going to crease it in half to find the center. And then it will be 1/2 inch from each side, and you will just fuse it in place over the seam like this. Alright, the firm stabilizer is fused in place. In place of Decoville Heavy, which is what I'm using, you can also use Pellon Peltex. I think it is 71F. Or any firm stabilizer. So the point of it is just that it's stiff, adds structure. So we're going to fold this now right sides together and match up the sides. And just clip the sides together. All right, So both sides are clipped, right sides together, and we're just going to sew down both of these sides using a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and make sure to backstitch at the start and stop. My sewing machine that I'm using right now is a Juki DU1181N. This is an industrial machine, but you can make this on a regular home sewing machine. We're going to trim these seam allowances down to about 1/8 of an inch. And that's just to help reduce some bulk in the finished product. Okay, and now we're going to box the bottom corners. So to do that, you just bring the two seams together. So the center of this bottom seam and the center of the side seam. Line that up. And it is like this. And I'm just going to place a couple clips on here. And I'll go ahead and get the other one ready as well. So we're just lining up the seam on the side with the seam on the bottom. Alright, and then we're going to sew these corners at a 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. And this seam should be next to, but not through the bottom stabilizer. See, it falls right next to that. Alright, and then I just trimmed those seam allowances down to 1/8 of an inch as well. Alright, we're going to place the exterior aside. Now, with our lining pieces, we're going to repeat the same process to, there will be no Decoville on the bottom, but we're going to match these up right sides together. And I'm going to this time pin all the, or clip all the sides together. bottom, when we sew across the bottom, we're not going to sew all the way. We're going to leave a 3-inch gap in the center to turn the bag right side out when we're finished. So I'm going to start on this side. Okay, so we're going to sew the lining using starting with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and then increasing slightly to a 5/8 inch seam allowance toward the bottom. This will help the lining to fit nicely inside of the exterior. So then the bottom will be a 5/8 inch seam allowance only. And I'm just going to sew in a little bit to leave that gap. If you need to, you can mark where the 3 inches falls on this opening so that you don't sew along that portion to keep that turning hole open. Okay, here we're going to trim all of the seam allowances except for along the opening. So here I will just trim partially and then turn and not cut along that opening. Okay, now we're going to box these corners the same as we did for the exterior. And you'll want to use a 5/8 inch seam allowance for boxing the corners. And I'm just matching up the side seams with the bottom seam. Alright, and then trim those seam allowances down to 1/8 of an inch as well. Alright, so now you have this with the opening on the bottom. We're going to turn the lining right side out. And take the exterior. We're going to place the lining inside of the exterior that's still inside out so they're right sides together. The exterior is significantly taller than the lining, and that's correct. It should be that way. We're going to match up the side seams first. And then clip all the way around the top. and then we're going to sew together all the way around the top using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. To trim the threads, and then again we're going to trim this seam allowance down to 1/8 of an inch. We're going to pull the lining out of the exterior, and then we're going to turn the exterior, or turn the whole bag right side out through the hole in the bottom of the lining. All right, so once that's turned right side out, we're going to, I'll close that hole up later. We're going to tuck the lining down inside of the exterior, and you're also folding the top edge of the exterior inside on the small bag by 1 inch, which is the amount of Decovil that's in there. So just that part where the Decovil is, it should just flip in nicely like that, and then you're going to want to press this, and then we're going to do some top stitching. All right, so I just pressed the top edge nicely, and then we're going to top stitch. I top stitch inside out on my sewing machine since it's a flatbed machine. If you have a free arm, you could remove that and top stitch like that. Being that it's this small, it might be easier though to top stitch inside out. So first we're going to top stitch 3/4 of an inch down from the top edge, and then again 1/8 of an inch down. So we're kind of top stitching over the Decovil heavy, not all the way at the bottom of it. For the small bag, it's 3/4 of an inch, and the large and medium have different top stitching seam allowances. So let's see, 3/4 of an inch. trim my threads. All right, and then we're going to top stitch again, 1/8 of an inch from the top edge. All right, trim the threads. All right, and then I'm going to turn this right side out. I'm going to pull the lining out and fold the raw edges of that turning hole to the wrong side. And then I'm just going to edge stitch right along that opening to sew this closed. If you choose to, you could hand stitch that as well. Press that down inside the bag. All right, and then here we're going to go to the ironing board, and you want to, you really could do it without ironing it. So, okay, here we're going to go, you can feel where the Decoville Heavy is in the top of the bag. We're going to fold the lining side, right sides together, right at the edge of that Decoville, and we're going to top stitch about 1 inch down, using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to do that on every corner, so every edge of the Decoville, which will give you like 4 corners, and then I'll press the bag as well to kind of crease those folds and give it that classic gift bag shape. So lining sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then one more. I'm going to just go to my iron and press this. You want to crease this inside portion so that it's bending in like that where the seam is, just like a gift bag would at the top. So I'm going to press that flat and then crease these sides to kind of give it more of a classic gift bag shape. All right, so this is nice and pressed, and now we're going to go ahead and make the marks for our ribbon. We want to measure 1 inch in from the left and right and 1/2 inch down from the top. So one inch in. And 1/2 inch down. Okay, and then at that mark, well, let me do all of the markings first. And then we're going to take our hole puncher. So this is just a leather hole punch from Tandy Leather. They sell similar hole punches at Joann Fabrics, I believe, on Amazon. And then there are other types of hole punches as well. So just go ahead and punch the holes. It might take a couple tries through the Decoville Heavy and everything. To use my snips to kind of get this little piece of fabric out of here. Those definitely cut better through leather than they do through fabric, but especially like the bigger punches. So I'm using the largest size punch that is on mine. I don't know the punch sizes on other brands or whatever. But also if you have like a Cam Snaps press for your eyelets, and you may also have the hole punch that goes with that. That would work probably better than this. All right, now we're going to install eyelets. These are 1/4 inch eyelets. If you have slightly bigger, that could work too. So I'm just going to place the eyelets in each of the holes. And then set them with my press. Going to take our lengths of ribbon So for the small, you should have two 12-inch lengths of ribbon, which I have you cutting actually in the cut list, but I did not do. And this is just 1/4 inch ribbon. I think 3/8 inch ribbon. You can use any wider ribbon as long as you can get it through the hole that you put. So kind of helps to fold it in half to get it through the hole. All right, and then you can either tie these off with a knot right inside, or you can tie the two ends of the ribbon together. I am going to do this and just tie it in a knot. All right, and then to keep the ends of your ribbon fraying, you can use Fray Check or another glue, or you can heat seal that with a lighter. And then just pull the handle through. Go ahead and install the other one. If you do use a lighter to heat seal the ends, just be careful with that. And do that at your own risk. All right, I like to slide it so that the knots are near one of the eyelets so it's not so obvious. And then you're done. So that's it. So this is our small size, and then we have a medium and large also included. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about this. Not only can it be used for Christmas, or it can be used for birthdays or any other occasion when you give a gift. So you can really use any fabric that suits that specific occasion and make it any way you like. Thanks for watching.